Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to do a special selection today, which is where one of you tell me exactly what it is you want me to check out. Today's comes at us from Andrew. Hey, Bryan, I've already had a request in the queue for a song by Consider the Source, but I think fans will be annoyed at my choosing a studio track rather than a live performance. So I'm going to rectify that by making another request for a live version of It Is Known. It's part of this full concert video starting at 12:50 and ending at 28:30. Be ready to stop it since the next song begins just a few seconds later. Or keep going. That's a great song too. Hope you enjoy and I look forward to hearing your thoughts. Alright, so we checked out Consider the Source a while back. I think that was at least a month ago maybe. The track was Misinterpretive Dance and it's completely... I remember it was interesting, completely instrumental, and a bit all over the place, if I remember right. So let's dive into this with It Is Known by Consider the Source. Oh, nice! We got some fuzzy mallets. Which is why the tom kind of has that thud to it. Very interesting guitar tone. I would never have guessed guitar either. If we didn't have the visual, I would probably say theremin? Oh, and of course it's fretless. You get all the nice smooth slides. Beautiful though. Look at that setup. Fun little idea there. Yeah, fun duet. Okay. Trying to see his right hand. His left hand, he's switched back to a traditional drumstick. But it's very cool having those mallets on the opening. I would have loved to see the switch. I don't remember when the drums were not playing. Oh, actually I do, never mind. It was the beginning of the duet. arpeggios. No, I think I was falling thirds. Interesting idea, though. Because we brought all that intensity down, so having a descending line to bring us to this quieter section works very well. Is that the guitar again? It is. Or at least it looks like it might be. It's lining up with what he's doing. Yeah, okay, so that top guitar is quite versatile. Oh, bass coming in heavy. I love watching the dude's left hands. It's so emotive. A lot of really great dynamic elements in here as well. Drummer doing a lot of one-time ideas over there, which is cool. It makes the drumming feel less pattern-based. I think the same question I had last time is how much of this is pre-composed and how much of it is jam bands. Dude, that fast cymbal roll coming into this section. Yeah, nice rising idea there in the bass. Dude is in the zone. Oh man, that cymbal. I've never seen a cymbal tied down so or tightened down so loosely where it could rotate so freely. Bringing back the melody from the beginning to tie it all together. I think that's it. Yeah. And that would be going into the next track. Was not kidding about just having a couple of seconds before that happened. Um, yeah, interesting stuff. So it's here's the thing. So, um, I would love to see this live, and actually, this was actually pretty good enough for me. Um, seeing bands live and feeling that energy is one thing, but to me, it's the spectacle of it all. There is a massive performative draw that I have for this band, and this is something that I didn't get a chance to understand when we checked them out last time. Um, because again, the music it teeters on like something extremely technical, like Animals as Leaders or Meshuggah, and something a bit more emotive but meandering, like is it King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard? I think that's the band I'm thinking of. just kind of diving into these really long, meandering jam rock sessions. And it bounces back and forth between the two of them. And both of those styles of music are not necessarily my cup of tea. I find jam band stuff to be a little too meandering. I'm usually there for a well-paced story, and they're there to enjoy the vibe and to, play what their heart is for however long that may last. And I'm sure people who listen to it are there for the vibe and that atmosphere of just the. I mean, sort of the reason why I listen to jazz too live is for the energy that comes out of the solo sections. I mean, I could see people going for jam music in the same manner, which I mean, I got to reevaluate that on my own time. But why do I like jazz solos as long as they can be, but not jam band solos as long as they can be? I don't know. Anyways, back to this though. And then the just highly technical music on the other side of the spectrum is typically jaw dropping. It's awesome to watch in the original term awesome, but not something I'm gonna put on in my casual listening, my spare time. Just throw on some Animals as Leaders or something. It just I don't connect with the massive mechanical technical technicality of it all. But something about watching this performance, merging the two, walking the line, and being able to see it all is fascinating. So, I mean, like, if we just broke down the music, um, we move between our opening idea, which is really interesting, very theremin like on our guitar, and just a groovy bass line on our bass with some simple drums. I pointed out the use of mallets rather than drumsticks in our opening section. Very cool idea. I love the largeness that it brings before it gets into the rock energy that they get out of the more succinct cracks of utilizing a drumstick rather than a mallet, where the mallet is more of a duller thud. Um, Very interesting idea to begin with. The theremin whale sounds coming off the guitar are, and just the emotive aspect of all of that is, it's interesting. We moved from this into the duet, which I thought was awesome. Anytime that the two guitarists played off of each other, I thought was a highlight. So often they felt like they were doing their own thing. The guitar was laying down a bass line or was just shredding, and then the guitar was doing its thing. Sometimes shredding, sometimes these just elongated, flowy melodies. So rarely did I feel like they were actually part of the same song, but when they come together and they harmonize or do call and response or do cannons or just, play off of each other's lines and really showcase that the two elements are aware of each other's presence more so than two isolated sounds, just the song takes off for me in those moments. And that wraps up my understanding of the music as a whole. The song bounces between those three ideas, either groovy and melodic, technically impressive, and really nice dual melody writing. It's in one of those three modes. Um, as far as like structure and like emotional connection with the song, like it feels like a linear jam to me. I don't really have much of a connection to the story. I don't really feel a narrative being passed along. It was just, sometimes we were doing one thing, sometimes we were doing another. Um, but I don't really think, at least for me, that the music itself is what's important to this. There might be some people who absolutely love it and they break it down and they go by the sheet music and learn it and all that, or the tabs, whatever, and they learn it and like it's a huge part of why they enjoy the band. But to me, this is a spectacle band. And what I mean by that is, I mean, part of it is just the just watching it, right? Watching the basses do what he does is entrancing. the accuracy, the speed, the precision, the endurance of it all. Especially there at the end, we were talking about a minute and a half, almost 2 minutes of just that really fast 16th note tapping, um, and just the repetition of it. I mean, there's definitely pros and cons to a constantly flowing concept and something that is more repetitious. You can definitely get into that flow state, that trance like idea going on, where I was like, he's just in the zone, just doing his thing. But also, I have found, at least personally for me, it's easier for me to play more technical things if it's flowing than to play something technical on a loop. I feel like every time the loop comes around, I'm prone to screw up more so than I did last time. And I don't know how widespread that is, but like playing that would be a nightmare to me, knowing that, I'd have to play that loop like 8 times or whatever. Um, and just, I don't know if he's the same way. Maybe it's easy for him just to get into that trance, that alpha, and just nail it. Once he does it once, second loop, third loop, and he was just in the zone, right? It's possible. But yeah, like just watching that is a spectacle. It is a feat to view, and that's pretty cool. I was blown away by the stuff that the guitar's got going on. It showed his like foot gear with like all those pedals and chords and like how do you even wire the thing up? I mean maybe it's not my thing, right? Once you've built it, you start on one pedal, then you add another, then you add another, and you build it up, and it becomes your thing, right? And you know the ins and outs of it or whatever. But like, I would have to pack it up with all the cables intact and like move it as one big gargantuan thing, one big Frankenstein monster. Because if I unplugged anything, I would never put it back right. But again, that's not my rig, so I don't have the experience of it. But it looks very daunting from my point of view. And to see this person not only play the guitar well, there was actually some really nice shredding in there, but also work their way around all these pedals and everything and make their guitar speak like a whale and have all these different tones and sound like a saxophone at one moment. Um, it's fascinating to watch again. There's the spectacle element, This dude has so much hardware around his feet and he's utilizing all of it. It's just fascinating. Something I would not and did not understand the last time we checked out um, a studio track from them, and I didn't have a visual component to go on. Even like I had mentioned, the guitarist's body language, right? And when he was doing the saxophone bit and a lot of those slides and reverbs and swells and stuff like that, and you just watch his hand, there's this fluidity to his hand and finger movements that you don't see when he's shredding, which is a bit more rigid. And to just watch the body language come out and embody the sound that he's trying to portray through his music, you just really see that connectedness between the musician and the music. Um, and that's very cool. Just seeing all the stuff on the drum kit as well. There's a lot of things in there that I don't know I would have picked out if I didn't see them. In fact, he has two snares, I think. Both of them sound wildly different, but I don't, like I said, I wouldn't have picked it up. But watching him shift between them and sometimes hit them together and stuff. And it's like those little ornamental things. He has a really tiny cymbal off to the side that he just went ham on for a second. It must have been like 30-second notes. It was ridiculously fast. And I don't remember hearing the sound or seeing him hit it again throughout the thing. So again, having the visual component and just seeing everything that goes into the performance, I think adds a lot, at least for me. There's a lot of stuff that kind of flies under the musical radar, so to speak. It doesn't come quite through as much in the music as it does visually. It's, again, like I said, a spectacle band. Um, and that kind of leads me to the next thing that I really enjoyed out of this is the performers. It's a bit more subdued than metal. But to me, this is, I'm trying to figure out the way to word this because we've watched metal performances, right? And these guys are jumping off of speakers and like headbanging together and doing like the hair windmills. And the drummers getting into it, and you can feel the energy through the musicians. But there's something about this, and I see it in jazz. I see it especially also classical, not so much like orchestral stuff, but smaller, more intimate classical setups, especially with funner music. Uh, like modern classical, 20th century classical, some of the later Renaissance stuff as well. Not so much Baroque. Baroque tends to be more serious, but there is a funness to this. You can see the musicians connecting with the music and in really enjoying being in this moment and producing the music. The audience might as well not even be there, and I think that their body language and performance wouldn't change at all. There's so much of this concert right here where the musicians are making the music for themselves and they just happen to be in a public space, is what I'm feeling out of this. And just puts the biggest smile on my face to see musicians enjoying themselves. And like I said, rock and metal have this. It's not like they're up there and they're dreary. Some concerts, I guess, helps with the aesthetic, but most metal and rock is on the more energetic side, and the band is brings the energy as well. But it's just a different kind of fun engagement that something more intimate and lower key like this brings out. It's I don't know. It feels more personal, even though, like, I'm not saying rock and metal don't have there isn't a personal connection between the musicians and the music, but I can see it here on their faces and the way they move. This isn't for the audience, even though the audience is there, and I just really appreciate that aspect to it. Um, Aside from that, though, I don't think I have anything else to add. I really enjoyed this performance. There's some really neat things going on in here sonically, but compositionally, a lot of it just feels like segmented jam band meandering. There's a few spectacle moments of shredding and showing off technical talent, but the overall flow of the song just kind of feels like moving between atmospheres to me. And while we're in an atmosphere, let me make some stuff up on the fly and improvise a little. And the improv, well, I don't know if they were improvised. The solos, I just didn't get that emotional connection with. Um, but like I said, I really appreciate the performance of it all, and it really helps me appreciate the music more so than just hearing it on its own. Which I think the other time we checked them out, they bounced off of me a little as well. And it's just not my cup of tea. But I really appreciate what they're doing now that I understand the process of everything that goes into it. It is three people making the sounds of what feels like probably a five-person band, complete with somebody on the synthesizer. And they don't have a synthesizer at all. So it really blows my mind, all of the work that goes into making this music, even aside from writing the music on its own. All the different sounds and tones and setting up of the hardware and everything that went into the process of this. There's no lyrics, instrumental only, so let's wrap this up. Those are my thoughts on Consider the Sources. It is known. That's where you guys come in. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you enjoyed this or not, anything that stood out to you, anything you'd like to add on to what I said, or correct me on. Above the comment section is a description box. In there is a link for Linktree. Takes you to this menu right here. Has a bunch of links related to the channel. Of them, you can find included links to help support the channel and links to find the Discord server. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. That wraps it up for today. We'll be back tomorrow with a special selection and a themed track in the opposite order. Don't know why I said it that way. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.